The Giants were 3 outs away from salvaging a homestand, really. They would have gone 3-3 on this very tough homestand against the two best teams in baseball. But Camilo Doval, who's just frankly not having his best season, blows a 2-run ninth inning lead, and the Giants are swept by the Yankees and now on to Arizona for an important series as we reach the 60-game point of the season.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on this show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, been hosting Locked On Giants for over 5 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Check us out there if you have not already. Please hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you're following the show. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. And coming up on today's show, we are going to get into the Giants being swept by the Yankees. Camilo Doval, is there a little bit of a closer controversy? I think that there is. And also, Blake Snell back on the injured list. Injuries, a huge, unfortunate part of the first 60 games of this season, and it's going to continue here with Snell going back on the injured list. But the good news is one goes down, one comes up. So somebody important coming back off the injured list today. So we'll get into that as well. But where I want to begin is just with kind of checking in. Giants have lost 4 straight games. Like they're yeah, they were on a heater there for a while, and then they lost the finale against the Phillies, had a chance to sweep the best team in baseball, and then they get swept. They lose the finale, and then they get swept by the Yankees. So a win would have made them 30-30. You know, it's just one game, but it feels a heck of a lot better than 29-31. For some reason it seems like at the 60 game mark the Giants can never be over 500, including in 2020 when all they needed to do was win one more game and they would have made that expanded postseason bracket, and they weren't able to do so, and they were 29-31 in 2020, and here we are in 2024 and they're 29-31. But the good news is they do have a lot of games left to hopefully improve upon that. But you know, this game was a game that they ultimately, quote unquote, should have won. They had a 5-3 lead going into the ninth inning, and they gave up 4 runs in the ninth. And it was Camilo Doval, whose earned run average on the season ballooned to 424 with 4 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning, taking the L here and the blown save. So, yeah, I mean, everybody but Doval. I mean, we had Eric Miller, Ryan Walker, Tyler Rogers, and Taylor Rogers. Everybody out of the bullpen put up zeros except Doval gave up 4 earnies. And so that's no bueno. I don't mean to say that because that's not good is what I'm trying to say. And so, I mean, and it's happened too much. Like when you think about the recent schedule for the Giants, they have, let's see. So they blew that one against the Yankees on Sunday. And then the previous Sunday, so 1 week ago exactly from yesterday, they blew a 2-run ninth inning lead against the Mets. And then just about a week prior to that, they blew a 4-run ninth inning lead against the Pirates. So the good news is they bounced back from both of those ninth inning blown leads with, the first time with 4 incredible comeback wins and the second time with a series win against the Phillies. So hopefully the Giants can rebound tonight as they start a road trip with 3 in Arizona and then a day off and then 3 at Texas. And then they come home 3 against the Astros and 3 against the Angels. But I just want to kind of point out when we look at the Giants pitching, like in terms of Fangraphs wins above replacement, they're 25th out of 30 teams. And so the pitching has really actually, run prevention has been the issue for this team. They're 26th in ERA. good news kind of is that the D-backs are 25th. Like, so the Diamondbacks have been giving up some runs as well. But 26th, when you play in a pitcher-friendly ballpark, that is not good. And, there are peripheral numbers that suggest they are due for some improvement, but the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you are what you are. You are what your record says you are at a certain point. And at 60 games, it is a legitimate kind of time to check in and see what's going on. And part of what's going on, like I said, is if we look at the relievers on the Giants, Camilo Doval has frankly, I mean, if you look on Fangraphs, he's been their worst reliever by wins above replacement, which for Fangraphs they use fielding independent pitching, and the issue for him has been walks. I mean, the walk rate is just kind of way higher than it has been in recent seasons. His career walk rate is 10.4%. This year it's over 15%, 15.6. So, like 50% higher essentially. And his ERA is 4.24. The fielding independent pitching is 4.43. The expected ERA is 4.15. It's crazy. The strikeouts per nine is exactly like identical to last year, 11.57 both years. But the strikeout percentage, which is a more accurate picture of, it's just what percent of batters are you striking out? It's down. It's a career low, but it's still above average at 27.5%. But, bad counts, falling behind, command. It's been a struggle for him this season so far. And the question I have is, like, do you actually consider perhaps going to someone else in a save situation? And I think I think the answer is yes, and not because I'm like thinking Doval can't do this, because I think he can, but maybe you kind of ease off of him for a little bit. It's just that they have some other guys who are doing a really good job, specifically Ryan Walker, to me. And you've also got Randy Rodriguez, but there's so much inexperience with Randy Rodriguez. Ryan Walker, though, I mean, he just kind of seems unfazed. He's been an opener. He's been a late inning reliever. Tyler Rogers, there's just a little too much contact. That gets wacky. And I just, Ryan Walker, strikeout rate is 31% in his career compared to 29.8% for Doval. Doval's ground ball rate, 54%. So Doval gets more ground balls than Ryan Walker, but Ryan Walker's career walk rate is 7.5% compared to 10.4% for Doval. And this year, by the way, Walker's walk rate is 4%, which is well below the league average, well better than league average, essentially, is what I'm saying. Career ERA for Ryan Walker, 3.12. Fielding independent pitching, 3.20. Career ERA for Doval, 2.96, with a fielding independent pitching of 3.16. And so, I don't know. I mean, both of these guys, I just feel like Ryan Walker is a really good reliever, and they may have something special in Randy Rodriguez, who's also been really good. But I just think, if there's a save opportunity, look, I believe in Doval. I think the quality of his pitches is really good. But the Yankees had his numbers. Look, he hasn't thrown, I feel like, as many sinkers as he wasn't throwing a lot of sinkers to start the season. But and when I look on Fangraphs, they're not even there. We go. Okay, yeah, I'm right. His sinker percentage is down from 30% last year to 20% this year. But it looked like they were sitting on the sinker and they were doing damage on the sinker. And Juan Soto hit a home run, his second of the game. And that was just kind of a middle meatball fastball. And so, to his credit, I mean, Soto did the damage. But yeah, Doval walked 2 in the outing. And so that kind of speaks volumes, because 4 runs scored and 2 of those runners were put on base via the walk. And the final score was 7-5 Yankees. So if you don't walk 2 guys and instead you get them out, maybe it's a tie game instead of 7-5, and then you have a chance. So, I mean, Ryan Walker, he gave up some runs at some point in this series, but he did pitch the 7th and gave up a hit, struck out 2, no walks, no runs, ERA 2.90 on the season. So anyway, I just kind of feel like we are getting to the point where these, obviously every game matters, and Camilo Doval right now has just kind of had a hard time with throwing strikes, and maybe it's time to do something there. But temporarily, I'm not saying like permanently, but that's just kind of my opinion because you can't be blowing games like this. And like the game in Pittsburgh, the one in New York, that was Tyler Rogers, and that was just kind of a freak thing. But the one in Pittsburgh, it was the same kind of issue where he came in, he didn't start the inning, but he came in and he was having trouble throwing strikes, and it led to problems, and they lost the game. So anyway, we're going to turn our attention to the other problems plaguing the Giants besides this sweep, which is injuries, and specifically Blake Snell going down again and what it means for the team. We'll get into it in just a minute. And before we do, today's episode is brought to you in part by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every trade master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. All right, as promised, Blake Snell injured again. Same injury as before. So much for, signing the reigning Cy Young Award winner and having that kind of season. Like, it's not going to be that kind of season. It's going to be a season where he's going to miss at least like a third of it, basically. If he misses, assuming he misses at least another month-ish, which is what he missed last time because it's the same injury. Here I am trying to drink water. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Pause, please. It's hot in here. Anyways, Blake Snell, it was also his best start of the year, like going. I know he gave up a home run in the first to Soto, but he had 7 strikeouts. It looked like he was kind of able to throw strikes when he needed to, like when it mattered. 7 strikeouts and 4 2/3, and then in the middle of an at bat, he had that left groin. I think it's the left groin. Bother him again, and he was placed on the 15-day IL. Yeah, so Snell, left groin strain, exited in the middle of an at-bat. And yeah, so, he had comments. He just basically said he obviously needs to do some strengthening in there and something to that effect. But it's a big blow because, like I said, where do the Giants rank in terms of pitching? And you might say, well, Snell has contributed to that number, and you would be correct. His ERA for the season is a team high. No, it's actually Dalton Jeffries is a team high, then Mitch White, then Kai Tang. But for Snell, 951. But we are talking 23 2/3 innings, so it's not a big sample for Snell. So, give him 150 innings, and that number is going to come way down. But at the same time, he's not going to get 150 innings this year because he's just going to miss a lot of time. And so the trend right now is that he's not going to opt out. And honestly, that doesn't bother me at all. So he's got this 2-year deal with an opt-out after year 1, but it doesn't bother me that that would mean that he would be back next year because you would just hope for a healthier, better year. I'm not saying his season is over by any means, but at the same time, it's trending towards like this year is going to be injury riddled to some significant extent. And it's going to be hard to get those numbers down like once he comes back, unless he just dominates and stays healthy the rest of the way, which is possible. And it's really about how you finish. Say the Giants make the postseason, and he dominates in some postseason starts or something. He could always opt out. But trending towards him opting in, and I don't mind having Blake Snell come back. But that's what I'm saying is that it hurts to lose him. It hurts to lose him now because this is a team that is dealing with so many injuries up and down their roster, and they're losing one of their best pitchers. And right now, when I look at the depth chart, their starting rotation looks like Logan Webb, Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks. It's like, where are the other starters? Oh, they're all injured. We're talking Blake Snell, Keaton Wynn, Alex Cobb, Robbie Ray, and Tristan Beck, all injured. Five guys injured. So why do baseball teams need depth? Well, it's because guys get injured. Remember before the season, like people saying, how are they not cutting Slater and Conforto and Yastrzemski to give other guys playing time? Well, look at the injured list right now. Lamont Wade Jr., Jung Hoo Lee, Austin Slater himself, Michael Conforto was out, finally back. We'll get into the importance of that and how that's a huge boost for this team right now later on. But Lamont Wade Jr., I'm not sure I mentioned him already. Tom Murphy is hurt, and Marco Luciano, like on and on. They've just, how many? That's 6 plus 5, 11 guys on the injured list currently. 11 guys on the injured list currently. Actually, there's two others, Ethan Small and Austin Warren. So that's 13 players on the injured list. And so Giants are banged up, and they've been banged up pretty much all year. And if you look at the lineup that they're putting out there tonight, I mean, think about this, like versus where they were or where they would be fully healthy. It's Brett Wisely at second base. Patrick Bailey is batting second. Matt Chapman's at third. Thankfully, he's been durable. I don't want to jinx anything there. Michael Conforto in left comes back. We will get into that a little bit later. Elliot Ramos, who, by the way, is proving to be perhaps a legit everyday player, which is a big deal, batting fifth. Jorge Soler, I mean, imagine before the season saying Soler is going to be hitting behind Ramos in the middle bottom part of the order. And then Yastrzemski, so Soler's DHing. Yastrzemski's in center, which is fine. I think that, so Matos kind of sits here, and then Casey Schmidt is at short. That's like their third layer of depth at that position. You had Nick Ahmed, then you had Marco Luciano, and now you've got Casey Schmidt, who also is hitting really well. So some of the young, and Brett Wisely is too, like these young players are keeping them afloat to an extent. And then Trenton Brooks at first base. I mean, come on. And then Eric Miller, a reliever, is starting the game, so they are extremely banged up. And so there's a quote somewhere from Bob Melvin. I think I kind of lost it, but that it's basically hard to evaluate them right now. Oh no, I found it. He said it's still tough to evaluate the team because we're not looking at a full roster at this point. I think the one thing that we can take away is that some of the younger guys have come up and done well, especially in big spots. Yeah, I mean, Elliot Ramos has had some huge hits. He had a big hit, I think it was in the finale, and it just proved to be for naught. But at the same time, he's done that a lot. Like I had tweeted out earlier at some point in the recent past, like Elliot and then a couple of like money symbol signs Ramos, like Elliot Money Ramos, because he was coming up with money hits all the time. And let's just take this opportunity to check in on Elliot Ramos, the 24-year-old former first-round pick of the Giants in 2017. Yeah, I mean, he's got a 131 weighted runs created plus, meaning he's been 31% above average, and we're talking close to 100 plate appearances now. So he's still got a batting average on balls in play that's unsustainably high, but at the same time, I mean, he's just playing well. And if you look at projections for him, they've got him at, roughly average or a little bit better than average offensively. And he's done well with the glove. I mean, he made some great assists. He made some great throws. He's got a good arm. He's got some good speed out there. If you look at the defensive metrics, we're looking at +6 defensive runs saved this season, and +1 out above average. So, yeah, and this is really in the corners. He's only played a tiny bit of center field, but mostly in the corners. And then ultimate zone rating also positive, and about Elliot Ramos this season. Let's look at base running too. A slightly above average base runner as well per these statistics on Fangraphs. So anyway, that's a positive. And then like Brett Wisely, and honestly, like for those of you who follow me on Twitter, you know that I have been, not like we missed an episode on Friday. A lot has been going on, and I apologize for that. And I was just gonna say, like, where I don't even know what happened to Tyro Estrada, but I just looked it up, and Estrada was out of the Giants lineup today for the third straight game after jamming his right thumb while sliding into second base on Friday. So, okay, that's what's up with Estrada. I didn't even know. I literally have not been able to deal with. I've been following the games and watched the finale, but some personal matters going on here. But so yeah, even Tyro Estrada is not in there right now, but thankfully not an injured list thing, at least yet. But the fact that they haven't put him on the IL is a hopeful sign that he will avoid the IL, but you never know. And at a certain point, if it's been long enough, you just have to make a move to get somebody else up. But I don't even know who at this point would be that guy. So anyway, coming up in just a minute, we're going to like flip this all on its head and discuss why, this is why you kept Conforto, because now it's like, thank goodness Michael Conforto is back, is the feeling I have, at least, because when you just deal with injuries in a baseball season. I told you, if anyone doubted me, I mean, look at what the heck is going on to the Giants this year. So we'll get into on to Arizona and the return of Michael Conforto and Austin Slater on a rehab assignment in a minute. But before we do, today's episode is brought to you in part by our good friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 with a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I've got it pulled up right here, right now, looking at the Giants. And the Giants are facing right-handed pitcher Ryan Nelson tonight, who has an ERA of 6.02 and a career ERA of 5.11. So I'm liking some of the Giants' bats here, and I'm probably going to take, if there are some lefties that I can pick as I scroll through, Mike Yastrzemski, is Michael Conforto an option? Patrick Bailey, I might take like an over on half an RBI for Patrick Bailey, more than half an RBI for Bailey. And then how about for Matt Chapman, over on half an RBI for Chapman. And those two together, those two picks, bet 20, win 90 at Prize Picks. And you can play in the great state of California. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, as promised, we were going to get into the return of Michael Conforto and why, this is why you don't cut Conforto or trade him or whatever prior to the season. Like, I was fielding mailbag questions prior to the season about why are they going to keep Conforto when they have Luis Matos? Like, how can they possibly send him to the minors? Well, first of all, I mean, look at the way Matos has cooled off after that player of the week thing, not thing, but after that week where he was player of the week. And look at all the injuries, because you lose a Conforto and then you go to all these other guys. And then what if those guys get injured? Then you go to who the heck knows who you go to at that point. And so guys get hurt, other guys get opportunities. And if you play well, given your opportunity, you keep playing. And so Elliot Ramos stays in the lineup. Luis Matos falls out of the lineup because he has not been hitting well as of late. And looking through the Giants, list of position. Yeah, Luis Matos. My goodness, has he been in a slump? I didn't even fully realize he's suddenly down to a 61 weighted runs created plus, hitting 220 with a 244 on base and 329 slugging. That's abysmal. That's crazy. After being player of the week, he has gone into a dreadful, dreadful slump. And so, whereas Elliot Ramos is tearing it up. And so, yeah, the hot hand plays. And Yastrzemski, for all his faults, has been better than Matos by quite a bit, and is a left-handed bat, in there against a right-handed pitcher. So it makes sense. And then you get Conforto back, and Conforto, when he went down, had played 38 games, 154 plate appearances. It was hitting 280, 331 on base, 490 slugging. He has 7 home runs, which is one behind the team lead, even though he's missed about 20. They've played 60 games, so he's missed 22 games on the season, or he just hasn't played in 22 of their 60 games, so more than a third. And yet he's just one off the team lead in homers. So that's why you don't get rid of these guys before the season, because now, I don't know about you, but it is like, thank goodness Michael Conforto is back, especially because they're very right-handed right now. And so to get another lefty bat in the lineup, you're missing Lamont Wade Jr., you're missing Jung-Hoo Lee. Like, those are 2 potent left-handed bats in your lineup, 2 critical left-handed bats in your lineup, and you were missing Conforto. So to get, and the fact that Brett Wisely is doing well is a help as well. Brett Wisely, by the way, hitting 333, 324 on base, 444 slugging. So it's nice to see that guys like Wisely and Ramos have been able to step up and get it done. And then Trenton Brooks is playing first base. He had his first major league hit the other day. One hit. He's got 1 hit, first career hit. So congratulations to him. He's made contact on 100% of his swings at pitches that are in the strike zone. So that's good. Even though he's struck out 37% of the time, means he's taken a lot of strikes, taken strike threes, I suppose, and not chasing. So, it's obviously a little early to evaluate Trenton Brooks, but projections are good. Zips projects 13% above average offense. Steamer, 2% above average, which is not much. ATC, which averages all the projection systems, at 4% above average. So let's give Trenton Brooks a chance here to try to be Lamont Wade Jr. light. But anyway, to get Conforto back into the lineup, I think is big at this juncture, because they need some offense. And if you look at the projections for Conforto, they're basically all kind of consensus about 20-25% above average, maybe 15 to 25%, so roughly 20% above average offense. And Giants could use that because, like I said, the pitching has generally been more of the issue than the position player group. I'm hesitant to say than the hitting, because I want, it's hitting and defense that goes into all of that. But, getting Conforto back is big. And overall, Fangraphs wins above replacement. Their position players are 13th, whereas their pitchers, what was it, like 27th or 26th or something like that? And as their team weighted runs created plus, which is overall offense, 100 is the league average. The Giants are 10th in Major League Baseball, top 3rd in the league. So yeah, so it's been things like randomly Doval just giving up a bunch of runs. The Giants, they had this great record when scoring 5 or more runs, and now they've blown a couple games when they scored 5+ runs. The game against the Pirates and now the game against the Yankees. I think those are their only 2 losses in games in which they scored 5 or more runs. So you score 5, you got a 5-3 lead going to the 9th against the Yankees. You just have to be able to close that out, and Doval couldn't do it. So in conclusion, if there's a save opportunity tonight, I wouldn't be shocked if you kind of see a trial of somebody like Ryan Walker in that role. And which, again, I just want to emphasize, I'm not saying forever Doval is banished to not being a closer, not at all. I just think until he shows consistent strike throwing ability, he is a bit of a liability right now coming in, especially like if the game's tight. I mean, you can't afford to be walking people basically. And ironically, the guy named Walker is not walking people, and the guy named Doval, the guy not named Walker, is. And so they could also do Tyler Rogers. I think Bob Melvin has a lot of faith in Rogers. I just don't love the fact that the ball is always going to be in play because he doesn't strike a lot of people out, whereas Ryan Walker does. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV Channels app. Reminder, you can catch every pitch of the Giants' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Giants. And everydayers tomorrow on the show will be breaking down this game. It is a game, hopefully the Giants can get off, break the schneid, get off the schneid and win a game against Arizona with Ryan Nelson and his 6.02 ERA on the hill for Arizona. That's a game to try to take advantage of, and we'll see if they can do it. And tomorrow they'll have Kyle Harrison on the mound. Today, bullpen game, I'm guessing we're going to see more of, I don't even remember his name. That's where we're at with the pitching. Spencer Howard, who pitched well last time out. So very, very well. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and we'll cover it tomorrow. So once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. Helps me out so much, so thank you in advance, and thanks to everyone who's done so already. I can't wait to be with you again tomorrow. Thanks again for listening. You are now Locked On Giants.